So hello, everybody. Welcome to this webinar regarding our MBA program. My name is Audrey, and with my colleague Alexandra, we are the admissions managers for the MBA program, Monaco MBA program at the International University of Monaco. So today will be the opportunity for you to ask all your questions to our program director, Dr. Marika Taishoff.
No?
And also to our guest speaker, with today Mr. Juan Dávila, who is one of our alumnus, ex-student of IUM and of the MBA program. Juan is going to share with you his highlights about the MBA program and tell you how he changed his vision and his professional life afterwards. So Marika, without further wait, the floor is yours, and maybe we can start introducing more into details, Juan.
Absolutely. So thank you very much, Audrey. Thank you, Juan, for agreeing to do this. I know you're extremely busy, and I think you've just come back from visiting an alumna in Eswatini, right? So welcome and thank you. So Juan, I'll make it very brief. You have done so much since you completed the MBA program that I keep thinking you graduated like 15 years ago. And in fact, you just began the program in 2019. You followed it in part-time mode, which means you completed it in 2021, so 5 years ago. But you've done so much in those 5 years and so dramatically different from what you had done very successfully, by the way, in the past. So I think we'd all love to hear about your MBA journey. Why did you decide to do the MBA, especially at IUM, and your overall impressions and recommendations? And then we can begin looking at more specific, precise questions. Okay? So I think we leave the floor to Juan.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Marika. More than generous your introduction. Well, when I decided to join IUM, actually combine a mix of personal and professional reasons. In terms of the personal reasons, is because I've been coming back and forward to Monaco for many years. I used to work for a Belgian monegas company, and I studied international relations at the University of London. And around the same time that I completed my degree in London, my dissertation, that it was about national identities in small countries, was published by the Museum of Anthropology in Monaco. So that was pretty interesting timing. From the professional perspective, I was looking at career change because I've been working for more than 10 years on the financial sector in accounting, and I was looking to do something else with my career, which at that point I didn't knew what it was about to come. So the journey that I could combine my studies with my work at that time in a 2 years part-time program, even when I was living most of the time in London, it really helped me to do that transformation in my career.
Oh, Marika, we don't
Marika, your
hear you.
microphone.
Yeah, I think you mute, yes.
That is because Marika is used and I speak a lot, so that.
Exactly. So I can just relax
And now she was
you know?
surprised and I was on time.
Exactly. So Juan, how did you hear about IUM and why IUM in particular? I mean, did you consider other MBA programs?
Well, I consider different MBA programs. I consider one in Manchester. I consider one in Belgium that is very interesting, and one in the Netherlands because I was living before in those countries. But IUM, what I like it is that I already had a small contact with Monaco, but I have to be honest, the first time that I tried to apply to IUM, it was back in 2008, 2009. But because of my work at that time, I couldn't do it. But I remember that I thought, okay, the university is in a very international location. I can study in English. They give me that facility that the MBA have because it has four modalities. You can have it full-time, part-time, presential, in distance. I didn't find other programs that it has that four modalities combined. So I remember scheduling a meeting, and I didn't knew if I wanted to do a master in finance or what. But at that point in my career and with my seniority, I thought that the MBA was probably the best option.
Okay. Any strong memories of the program?
Well, we got the pandemic in the middle. That I think that it was,
That's a strong
but
one.
that
Yeah,
was a strong one.
absolutely.
But I have to say that we still have our cohort remain. We became friends for life, I have to say. We have, of course, our dramas, our funny things about working together in the middle of the pandemic, of all learning. But it's amazing that 5 years after we have complete, we see each other very often. We still have the same WhatsApp group. In fact, I saw two of the alumni, one in South Africa and the other in Eswatini in Africa, just 2 weeks ago. I, of course, has a lunch with a few other colleagues that are living around Monaco to catch up, and of course, gossips about that I brought from Africa, imported from Africa. But we, in our cohort, we started to get married, to have children, and so on. And we participate in those celebrations, all those milestones of the life of each other. So it really helped us not only to make academic contacts, but as well personal friends for life.
Yeah, which is, I think, all the more fascinating in the sense that each year the MBA cohort is so diverse. I mean, I've been at different business schools, IMD and Imperial and Bocconi, and you know, typically MBA candidates share a certain profile in terms of their professional background, in terms of what they want to accomplish. We, of course, have students like that as well. Perfectly. But we also have very, very diverse students, such as you, right, who's in finance, background in international relations, etc. We have other students who are architects, ballet dancers, not in your cohort, but in the recent cohort, professional athletes. So very, very diverse. And they come from literally every continent, which is something else which I find fascinating. It's not like we have a majority of nationalities within the MBA program. If we have, let's say, 3 Americans in a cohort of 25, they are the majority, because we only have one or two of everyone else, right? So,
Yeah, I think that we were 18 nationalities within 27 participants. So we had 3 French, 3 Americans, and then even one student from Monaco, me from Argentina, South Africa, Eswatini, Mauritius, Lebanon. So the diversity was really extraordinary. The possibility that you can speak and to cross languages and so on, that was, and the path, like you say, the career path of each one of us was also very diverse. Some of us, we took the MBA because we wanted a career change. Some others because we had a business idea that we wanted to develop and we wanted to see how we can do it within the environment of Monaco. Some others were already living in Monaco and they tried to expand their network and to meet new people from an academic perspective. And that is very nice because you see the progression from the moment that we begin the MBA to the curve, the learning curve, until we finish. And the conversations also have twisted because there were some people that was not expected to develop a business by themselves, but later they become partners of another guy that was in the same cohort, or a business idea evolved with the feedback that they have been getting through the classes, and now the product is even better than what they ever expected at the beginning. Some people discover through mentorship that their passion and their effort should be going in a different direction, or knowing more possibilities about what they can do with the potential that they already have. That really the MBA experience in Monaco, I think that is very interesting because it's quite boutique. You don't find, for example, I'm in contact with other universities in Oxford, in LSE and so on, where the cohorts are massive, 150 students, mostly from a very stereotype background, because they all wanted to get into city, they all wanted to get in business development, they always wanted to get
right.
into a certain area of the industry. But although IUM is a university where you can find a very interesting perspective of luxury, which it is, I think that the good added value that the university have. In my case, where I ended up working in international relations was also supported by the university, and the university also helped me to contact with those networks that could help me on the project that I end up doing, no?
Yeah, absolutely. And indeed, your career path has been quite extraordinary because if I recall, when you entered the MBA program at IUM, you didn't have in mind setting up your own company. From what I wrote, I mean,
No, that was the
no,
last thing that I had. I think that I was the less entrepreneurial profile of the cohort.
there we go, exactly. And that's what I thought as well initially because you never mentioned it. And then I remember, all of a sudden, a couple of months into the program, you came up with this idea, which became Future Ed, which, you can describe later. But I remember I was astounded because you had never thought about it. And I think that's one of the elements of the MBA. It really has to be seen as a journey because, and I always tell candidates and students, keep your eyes, your mind, and your heart open while you're doing your MBA because you really never know what will emerge. You might discover you have a talent you never knew you had. You might discover you meet certain classmates and they have certain ideas, and all of a sudden that ignites a passion in you, and you decide to do something. So it really is a voyage of discovery. And that's why it's so important to be open to different possibilities. And as I said, you didn't at all fit that classic entrepreneurial profile because we have some students who come in and say, I have a business plan and I want to do this and that, and it's great. Well, but you weren't like that. But all of a sudden, you had this idea. I won't say all of a sudden. I'm sure it had to do with whom you met and the courses you took and interchange of ideas. But you not only had an idea, but you made it work in a phenomenally short period of time, which I think,
Well,
struck all of us at IUM.
I have to say to the people that don't know me and need a bit of background of what Marika is saying is that yes, I started to have the first lunches of the first residentials and to listen to everyone's idea and so on. Through the second or third residential, we were struck by the pandemic and so on.
Right.
That was just after 6 months of the MBA started. And I say, okay, we have to work in a way that um, we can continue to develop the ideas because at the end we have to present, we're going to have the business simulation. That is a very interesting part of the end of the program. And we have to present a business program, a business plan. And then I decided, okay, I I see around everything that I had on my palette of resources and assets, which I've been discovering through the help of Caroline Frisenberg when I tried to shift my career, that she was the mentor that we get along the program, and by the conversations with her and with Sophie, with Marika, and with my colleagues, I started to see, okay, this is what I have on the table. This is what I can do. The situation is pretty limited now in this context, but I would like to develop a business plan, but not only to develop, I would like to foster it or incubate it within my MBA journey.
Mhm.
So what I did is I started with an idea that I presented to Marika as soon we began the second year and so on. And Marika told me, what have you done? I mean, all this month, I mean, how come you have been done this and that? I mean, and what I did is basically I use each one of my classes to incubate my idea and to test it with the professionals that were professors and entrepreneurs that we have been in contact with. So the logo of my company was incubated within the marketing class, the human resources within and the administration and the accounting in those classes. So I was taking my ideas and I started to shift it to get real time feedback, even from my colleague, because we were working as a team about how that could be improved. Um, by the middle of the second year, I already launched the idea
Right.
because I felt that from the original idea to the launch of the product, it has been such exponential growth. And it helped me as well to take me out of my comfort zone because one of the lessons that I learned in the MBA is not to fall in love with my own ideas, but to challenge them. And that is the first thing that we learn as an entrepreneur.
Right.
And with that in mind, I could say that I became the first company fully incubated within the MBA in Monaco because I used the resources that the MBA was giving me to take that feedback and to make it work. And I still, until today, that I always has people around the MBA that I still remember when I designed the first logo or the first spreadsheet
Right.
with the figures and the numbers and the investment and so on. And 5 years later, I have to say that we are up and running
Yeah,
and that we are working in more than 20 countries with more than 60 business partners around the world, and that we have more than 20,000 um, subscribers, members to our organization.
incredible. Bravo, bravo. Let me leave it to the admissions team, whether there are any questions from the audience or whether you ladies have any questions as well.
Yes, because Juan, you explained actually how you used your experience at IUM and your MBA to have your business idea and to create your business. But today, do you still use the competencies you acquired during the MBA in your day-to-day activities?
Yes, I think that is always, this is something that a professor told me. In the MBA, you're not going to know everything about everything, but to have the telephone number of the one who knows. And in that sense, you build up in competences to know in 360 the areas of a business that you always has to keep in mind for the best administration, or either what you are doing or what you're gonna do. So a lot of things on management that I use, techniques of management that I use nowadays on my day-to-day business, I learned during the MBA. The HR administration, part of the accounting and the compliance that I need to take care in consideration when I prepare the balances, when I do my investment, and so I I perfected doing the MBA because I have to realize that working in finance, I had some things from, we could say, hardcore columns. But the MBA, what it helped me it is to build up the glue between the different pieces of knowledge that I have and bring it together. And it filled those gaps where by network, by confidence, by information, by theory and practice, I needed for the development of my experience. But
Hmm.
I have to say that it was out of curiosity. I know some students that just pass to the MBA and after they get the diploma, they forget everything. So it's like everything. If you put the best of yourself and you are really asking and curious about how you can develop this journey, you're gonna take the most advantage of the program. The things that I found in IUM, everything that I need for that to happen.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Alexandra, I think you had a question?
Yes, yes. The thing is, I'm sure we have many participants here, and it would be interesting for them to better understand the concept of your business that you have done. Maybe if you can share in a couple of words, like because you developed your idea and then you launched it during your MBA, and so it's interesting to learn about your idea, what you did as well.
Well, I was born in Argentina, and in Latin America, it takes between 8 to 9 years for a student to graduate from university because the academic design is very much obsolete. So the graduation rates are less than 10%. So teaching online and working with hybrid models is not something that it has been very well developed in Latin America. That most of my competitors like EDX or Coursera, they have the support of Harvard, MIT, and so. And they have online platforms that we all have been using during pandemic and so on. But the amount of content that it was available in Spanish, it was very little. So we have created first an educational platform where all the contents were both in Spanish and English, but when we are striking about academic design, we make sure that all our content was aligned with the Agenda 2030 of the United Nations. In that case, we became educational providers for the British government and for the United Nations in less than a year. And I started to represent FutureEd and even IUM at the Conference of Climate Change of the United Nations that took place in different countries, first in Glasgow, Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt, and so on. And we partner with universities, with governments, with business organizations to develop tailor-made programs for their staff and for the universities to try to internationalize their experience, to try to make it more sustainable, the learning experiences and the administration experiences that they have by themselves. We, for example, we had a program for entrepreneurs about financial diplomacy that we developed in Luxembourg, that is hybrid. We had another program in the Netherlands about administration of water resources. We also have another program in Belgium and in the UK about international green trade, in which we show them the newest tendencies about green entrepreneurship. We are now having one in Panama where we take entrepreneur and logistic programs to understand how is the financial sector in Panama and how important it is in terms of logistics and trade. So we work in a way that we help companies and organizations, profit and non-profit, to link the private and the public sector to develop, for example, trade missions, which become successful. We train those professionals in a way that they are able to succeed in the escalation of their business further and with the network that they need. So that our programs sometimes are built up as a package for a government that wanted to escalate the exportations that they have, or for a university that wanted to incorporate an international experience within the public and the private sector, and as well for the general public.
Yeah, thank you. This is impressive.
Yes, very. We have some questions from the audience, and I think the next one will be both for you, Marika, and Juan. So it's about the alumni. So how active and accessible is the alumni network?
I can speak from a theoretical perspective, and Juan, you can speak as an actual
Yes.
alumnus. Okay. But certainly, it's very active. It's been very well managed these past couple of years. We just had a wonderful alumni and mentorship cocktail just about 2 weeks ago during the residential week. And there were alumni who had graduated 20 years ago from the MBA program, so amongst the first MBAs. And it's extremely active. And there's a lot of, shall we say, as Juan suggested, a lot of continued camaraderie amongst certainly the MBA alumni, as Juan mentioned. There have been some marriages that took place, and one wedding was in South Africa, and you guys all went there. Another one was in Geneva, and so I mean, there is this continued sense of we're sort of a family, and I think part of that is because when you do the MBA at IUM, most of you are foreigners in a foreign country. So if you do an MBA, let's say in London, most of the students tend to be Brits, and then you have some foreigners in there. But really, the MBA at IUM is people are foreigners in a foreign country, and it's a deliberately small cohort. We don't want more than 30 max, because it just loses the boutique approach, as Juan said, and it doesn't allow for interaction and dialogue and ultimately friendship. So you have a small group of people who are all basically discovering each other in a new place. So there tends to be a real cohesion, and they stick together over the years, and it's wonderful to see. And also, I've seen several instances where an alumnus or an alumna will actually hire a recent MBA graduate. So we have a student who who was working here in Monaco in architecture and interior design, and she opened up an office in Dubai recently, doing very well. And she hired a recent MBA alumna. You know, they met, and she said, "These are the skills I need, this sort of project management skills." And so basically, the two MBA alumni are now working together in the same sort of, shall we say, business in Dubai, and it's growing incredibly. So it's a very active community. It's a very, shall we say, convivial community. People like to get together, and I think many events are now being planned accordingly. So that's from what I understand from hearsay and speaking to alumni, but I'll let Juan provide us with a real inside info on it.
No, I agree on that. I mean, I work with another MBA alumni on a project right now in Monaco. Some of my colleagues there started to develop projects together a few years ago. One was a lawyer, and the other it was hired by a lawyer firm, and they worked together for a few years. And I have interns from IUM that every year they join the company because we give them the flavor when they try to do business development or to work more in diplomacy or to work more in international relations. Um, During the time of the cohort, we always, during the weekends that we didn't have to prepare anything, we could go in winter to Limone, or we could go and explore Es or Menton or so. I end up buying my apartment in Menton
Right, yeah.
actually 2 years ago, because I was coming back so much back and forward and so on that now even tomorrow I'm meeting two of the MBA alumni and so on, because we are going to an exhibition in Italy. So in real terms, I think that it has been a very positive balance. And like Marika say, we all come as an individual, a sort of big brother in that sense, because we all don't know each other from previously, and from absolutely different backgrounds. So it's an amazing experience, because I remember the first things that we did together. It was to explore Monaco, to go to the museum, the Oceanographic Museum, to go to the Museum of the Automobile, and that is now in the port. We used to go to basketball matches together or to the opera. So it's something that became natural, but it became even systematized, if you could say, because we enjoyed so much each other's company that 5 years later, when each one of us, we still put in the group, I'm gonna be around, when do we see each other? There is probably someone that it says, count me in, I'm going.
And that's
Yeah,
always the case each year. It's the MBA is like a little family.
absolutely.
And
That's right.
yes, very tight group. We have other questions coming. One is very quick, I guess. Marika, well, maybe we can elaborate, but we have one of our attendees asking if there are opportunities for internships within Monaco, but the MBA program does not include internship because we have only professionals in the program. But what we have at the corporate project, maybe you can say a word about that, Marika.
Yes, absolutely. So we don't offer internships within the MBA program for several reasons. As Audrey said, most of our students are professionals, and internship positions tend to be quite, shall we say, junior in terms of responsibility and in terms of purpose. Also, there are legal restrictions in Monaco, Italy, and France to have interns over the age of, I think, 26 or 27. The average age in the MBA is mid-30s typically. So basically, rather than doing an internship, we offer either a corporate consulting project, which is a project that you will work on. It is basically supervised by a partner from EY, and he's leading up the innovation management section of EY Consulting for Europe. And he has loads of clients, etc. So he will come up with a project, a consulting project, an actual one, and students will work in teams on that. So this is strategic. This is something that is action oriented. This is something you can certainly put on your resume, as well as you get to meet the client itself and the top executives within the client organization. So it helps you in terms of building a network. Alternatively, you can work on your own business plan. And this is what Juan opted to do once he had the idea that he wanted to do a business plan. And that's another way to get real practical experience because you're guided. You have a mentor, you're guided, you have faculty, guiding you as well. And then you need to present to a jury, and if you want to include investors or your mentor. But I mean, these are the way we look at real valuable practical experience for an MBA student, which can then be used as an MBA graduate into an actual career or setting up a business. An internship is essentially a waste of time because you won't be working with the top level executives in a company. You won't be doing anything strategic. It's basically a go for work. So no, to answer your question rapidly, no, there's no internship opportunity within the MBA, and I don't think we're missing anything by not having
No,
that.
I agree with Marika. The mentorship for me and the consulting projects were more senior. I really appreciate it because you can speak tete-a-tete and then to get the real insight that you need. Actually, as well, the interns that I'm talking about are bachelor's and are just junior master program. So my interns has, like Marika say, 20, 21, 22 years old. But for me, I wouldn't have done what I have done. It wouldn't be for the mentorships that I got. I remember my mentor was at that moment a serial entrepreneur in Monaco and so on. Then he has his business incubator, and that he showed me the ropes about the do's and don'ts and saved me a lot of time. And he introduced me people, and I'm still in contact with him. He didn't become an investor because at that moment my project didn't need it. But in terms of the doors that it opened me in an environment like Monaco, that were priceless.
Right.
Yes, for their the mentorship program is also very important indeed. We have a very accurate question now, Marika, from a student from a prospective MBA student, who says is interested in starting his own yacht charter company. And he said that he found the program because he was looking for an MBA focused on the yachting industry. So how do you think the MBA program aligned with his interest, Marika?
Okay. Sorry, I'm getting a little cold here. The MBA program, any good MBA program is transversal. So in other words, you learn about all the integrated aspects of businesses, as Juan said, all the pieces that fit together at the end to create and grow a business sustainably, both in terms of the environment, more importantly, competitively. So we don't focus on yachting per se. We're not a master's in luxury yachting, for instance, an MBA program, where all the major aspects of business are discussed. By being in Monaco, you're imbued with a yachting culture because Monaco, I won't say depends very much on the yachting sector. It doesn't, but the yachting sector depends a lot on Monaco, given its location, given the, shall we say, the profusion of high net worth, ultra high net worth residents and tourists who come here, given the number of brokers and charter companies that are based in Monaco, given the fact that there's a very well known, probably the top mega yacht designer in the world, a Norwegian gentleman who's based here in Monaco. And we as IUM, we have contacts with all of the brokers, with all of the charter companies, with the designers, etc., as well as, of course, with many of the high net worth and ultra high net worth individuals, but on a very discreet basis, of course. So by doing an MBA here, you would learn the basics of business. You'd be introduced to the kind of environment in which yachting thrives. And in fact, yachting, as I said, is a key activity in Monaco. And also to the decision makers in yachting. Last year in the MBA program, we had a special presentation because I personally have been living in Monaco now for 17 years, which is incredible to me. I don't think I've ever lived anywhere that long, but so it's incredible. So I have many contacts here in Monaco now, and I know some leading people in yachting. So I know a woman who's been in yachting for many years, and she knows designers, builders. She knows yacht builders who are based primarily in Holland and in Germany, but she's based here in Monaco. and brokers as well. And she agreed to do a seminar, a workshop on new trends in yachting. What is happening? Because it's shifting dramatically in terms of what do clients look for. And she knows these clients because she's been selling to them for years and years and years with her partner. And, obviously getting younger because there's a huge transfer of wealth in the world in the trillions of dollars. But there's also many, many more self-made billionaires. And a lot of these people are young in the sense that they're in their 40s, thanks to tech, thanks to the hedge funds, et cetera, et cetera. And it's a totally different profile from your typical yacht buyer, or shall we say, even somebody who charters a yacht, who tend to be older, they're looking for relaxation. This profile now is looking for something very, very different. They don't want to sit in the Med, quaffing champagne, you know, and relaxing. They're looking for adventure. They're looking for exploration. They want to do something for the environment as well. Use their yachts also, shall we say, for environmental explorations, research, etc. And it was a fascinating presentation in terms of how this demographic shift in terms of the profiles of the ultra high net worth and the high net worth, how they're shifting and changing the yachting sector very dramatically. So, I mean, you will be exposed. You won't have a course on what is a yacht, but I mean, you can look that up online, right? But you will be exposed to individuals who are involved in this business and have been for many, many years and understand it from a consumer perspective, understand it from an engineering perspective, understand it from a consumer behavior perspective, understand it from an environmental perspective as well. So that's how, by doing an MBA here at IUM, you basically can't avoid yachting, okay?
You
And
can,
if you
No,
yes.
want,
I
you
think I
can.
think that I think I'm laughing because I think that I never been in so many yacht outside of my MBA experience because of the Monaco Yacht Club and so on, and then
Exactly.
The Monaco Yacht Show, and you always have people that comes and go that you meet because friends of a friends, like you say.
Right.
And we have some alumni as well that has been related to the industry that they
Right.
gonna be meeting in
Exactly.
cocktails and so on. So the topic gonna go back and forward, even if it is not your field of research of what you wanted to do in my career. Like in my case, I end up learning more about yachts, being at the MBA, and not even taking a course than if I would have been taking it, you know?
Exactly, exactly. And you're right. Off the top of my head, I can think of two alumni who are in the yachting sector. One is had worked in yachting, and now she has her own luxury consulting company,
Yes.
operates
Uh,
globally, basically
One
out of.
one it was even written the first academic book in yachting.
That's right, exactly, exactly. And it's a huge book, beautifully illustrated book. And then we have another graduate from, I think, before your time. Um, and her family is in the yacht brokerage business. She's German and she's now based here in Monaco. She had done some other jobs in luxury jewelry and then decided to go back to the family business. So there are so many connections in yachting here um, that basically you learn more from these connections than from taking a course on what is a yacht. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we have time maybe for two more questions because we have a lot. I think, well, maybe Juan, the COVID pandemic won't help you answering this one, but uh, can MBA student can be part of student association like charity club, um, or sport club, or because I know that all those activities stopped during COVID, but maybe you were part of some associations.
Well, actually, it started the year that I joined the MBA. I am part of the first generation of all those clubs that emerged. I think that the
Hmm.
first one that emerged was the finance club, and then I started with the entrepreneurs and so on. And last time that I was checking, there were more than 10 different clubs.
yeah.
Yes.
That was fascinating. At the beginning, it came with an idea of some undergrad and then the master joins. And by the time that I graduated, some of my MBA colleagues they started to join and to appreciate the idea because it was evolving. And now I'm very happy to see that evolution and the quality of the activities that they did because I think that it helped a lot to develop the pertinence to the university and to the community, what the university can give back to the community in terms of activities offering to the public, to the youngsters. I remember that being talking about this with Marika at some point. I was offering to Marika that we should do an immersion course on Monica's culture to understand everything that it was going on, because it's in a year. If you do it full time, a year gonna be too short. If you do it in 2 years, like I did and so on, you can take the time, but you're gonna have the experience more space because you are working at the same time. But it is true that this kind of clubs also help you to meet people outside of the box of your MBA and within the university with other departments, with other careers, and your network become wider. So I really encourage the students, if they wanted to join the different societies that university have, that do so, because it can be another very enriching experience.
Yes, and to answer your question more into details, Kevin, because Kevin is the one who has this question. Those associations, yes, they gather also the other type of students like the bachelor and the master students. But of course, depending on the one you're targeting, you're going to find more MBAs or more masters or more bachelors. So it really depends on the one that you're interested in. But indeed, we have various sports clubs, different sports. We have finance society, luxury society, charity club also, music association. So we have lots of opportunities for all of our students. Well, it's almost time to end this webinar. But first, before giving the last word to Juan, I would like to invite those of you who are in the region, who plan to be in region, to join us for a special session we are going to hold on the 10th of February here on the campus of the International University of Monaco. We are going to hold an after-work MBA session, so where Dr. Taishoff, Alexandra, and myself, and our corporate coach, Caroline Frinsberg, are going to be there. And the idea of this session is to welcome you and to discuss about your project, to discuss about the possibility of doing an MBA, to discuss about what the MBA would bring to you. The session will take place from 5:30 until 7 in the evening of the 10th of February. So if you're interested in joining, in visiting the campus, in feeling the atmosphere and learn more about the MBA, feel free to register on the website, monaco.edu, and we'll be happy to welcome you then. So before we close this webinar, Juan, maybe you can tell us what you will say, what advice would you give to any student, well, prospective student here with us today? What would your advice be regarding joining the MBA program, and what would be the tip you would give a student to be able to enjoy the MBA at most?
Well, first of all, I have to say that through the years, I have recommended many students to join the MBA. Every year, I drop 2 or 3 names to Marika, or people like, look at this profile, this could be interesting, and so on. And I do the other way around. I encourage people to join IUM because I think that is a very good changing life decision, something that is gonna really add value to the CV. My CV has been seen absolutely different after the things that I learned and how I knew how to develop my storytelling and how to do that career change that I wanted to do. And then I got sharper tools, we could say. Probably I had it before, but it became new ones and it become better ones. That helped me to be in the position that I am now. Just to give the milestones of how that was translating. In 2 years, my work has been quoted by National Geographic. I received the Freedom of the City of London, became the first Argentinian to receive the Freedom of the City of London. I received condecorations in my country for the work that I had been done. Now we are into a new phase when we became an international institute on higher education specialized in sustainability. But I have to say that that wouldn't be the same without the initial push up that I got from IUM. So enjoy the experience the max. Allow yourself to go out of your comfort zone. Challenge the things that you know already. Don't become too in love of your original ideas, because Monaco is a place where you can really put down and build up again. The city is like that, with all the buildings that are putting down and building up
Part of the
again.
DNA, it's the
It's
culture.
part of the DNA of the culture, and then you will see that that is exactly the DNA of Monaco. Is about, although it's small, although it's boutique, what you will see is an idea of reinvention all the time without losing the core values, but at the same time challenging themselves. So think yourself not as a breaking and building, but trying to bend over and to enjoy in the best way that you can. That is will be my best advice.
I think it's a good one.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, it's time to end this webinar. So thank you very much, Juan, for all your insights and for sharing your experience with our participants today. Thank you very much, Marika, for your explanations. And so we look forward to welcoming you in one of our future sessions. And again, if you can come physically on campus, February 10th is around the corner, so we'll be glad to meet with you all. So thank you very much and have a very nice day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Thanks, everyone.